I met with an accident when I was 2.5. I lost my right arm below elbow. That is one plus point, because above elbow is again difficult to get prosthetics back in those days. Below elbow was good. So I've been a lefty all my life. See, the lucky part was it happened when I was 2.5, even before when I started school.
Right.
So everything started with left hand. So that never came in any way, either in my academic or even my cycling journey ever. Even after doing 47,000 kilometers everywhere, when I got the road bike, I struggled 1 kilometer and I was not confident enough. The question you asked, how do you, if you're not confident enough, get your confidence. Don't venture out, don't try anything just because your friend told or you want to prove. You take your time, you decide, you find a neighborhood with there is no traffic around, where even if you fall, you don't mind, nothing is gonna happen.
I am Bikey Winky and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest, Vignesh Rao, is a cyclist and a chartered accounting consultant. Vignesh lost his right arm from below his elbow as a 2.5-year-old kid. He says that he is lucky that it happened so early in his life because it allowed him enough time to adapt to a life with a single arm. His parents never allowed him to feel sorry for himself and taught him to be independent and self-reliant. In this episode, we talked about his endurance and weight loss journeys, where he went from nearly 110 kilos to 70 kilos over the years. He shared what worked for him for weight loss and what did not work. We talked about how he adapted to cycling and braking with a single arm and the safety precautions he takes. My takeaway from this conversation was how having the right attitude can help you get over any physical disability and live an active life. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope you do too. Now, let us get into my conversation with Vignesh. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast, Vignesh. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Venki. I think I've been following your podcast for a long time now. My pleasure being one of the guests here.
Absolutely. So, Vignesh, let us start by talking about what is work for you.
Okay, basically I'm a chartered accountant, but never been in the traditional side of chartered accountancy. I've always been an IT guy. So basically I'm an IT auditor, one who helps the financial auditor these days to be a specialist in all the ERPs so that their work can be lesser. And you help them in understanding whether the clients in which they audit, how good or bad or ugly their system is, so that depending upon that they decide how much to audit.
Okay.
So I'm a specialist to a financial auditor, but of course that's how I started my career. Now I'm a consultant to help one of the clients so that their auditors don't end up screwing them. So we help them in designing all the IT stuff, which is predominantly from a financial audit perspective. So basically that is my specialization.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's been 12 years now post qualification. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. That is the work front. What is your relationship with sport as such, from childhood and stuff?
Okay, where do I start? Okay, I've never been, I always liked sport, but never been a very enthusiastic sports person ever. I used to, as usual in everyone in India, starts playing cricket. That's how I started again, and that went good till my 12th. And a bit of cycling in the last before 10th, 8th, 9th I started cycling 2 years. That's it. And then 11th, 12th happened, which I went abroad. So again, I left cycling. So sports has never been my forte, but I've always liked table tennis.
Ah,
Yeah,
table tennis.
but I've never been a sports person ever.
Okay. So how did cycling come into the
happened.
picture?
Good. I was overweight.
Hmm.
Basically, almost my 30 years of existence, I've been overweight. I was a huge person basically. Around 105, 110, I think was my maximum.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean that kept on going. I knew my problem was not overeating. My problem was exercise. And I've been trying from my 10th standard how to reduce. But the problem is, for other sports, the thing is you need another person. The problem was, even if I was ready, there was no other person to play with.
Right.
So I've tried umpteen times gymming, never worked out. Used to go for 1 week, that's it. Never used to go back because I somehow felt I'm not a person who will do exercise looking at stuff in four walls. So that never been, that's what I understood. Then later on, what happened, I started, a point came where I thought, okay, I'm in Bangalore. I stay in one of the most beautiful areas in Bangalore. Why don't I start walking? To explore my own neighborhood. So
Right.
that was in 2014. What happened, properly 1 month, got a polar device, started walking, step count happened, everything was going great. Then my usual problem came into picture, which I started getting bored. How much will I see my own area? And every day properly, I mean the first 2 weeks was difficult, walking for 1 hour. I used to make it a point. After 2 weeks to 1.5 months, what happened, I explored my area and I started losing weight. It was good amount of weight because I was never a sports person, never a fit person. So I was seeing the reduction in weight. But then what happened, I got bored. I got bored watching. So I had to go to the another area. Now how do I go to another area? I cannot walk. So I
Right.
got a cycle. I thought, okay, let me venture out, explore Bangalore. And that's how my second stint of cycling began.
So
And
2014, 15.
yes, 14. I would say proper early 14.
Okay.
And never looked back after that. And I should say one thing. If I was not in Bangalore, I would have never cycled. It's only because of the weather in Bangalore. I mean, I have stayed in Hyderabad, I've stayed in Chennai. Only in winters you can survive there. And of course, Chennai doesn't have a winter. So I really respect people of Chennai, whoever are cycling there. I never understood how they do it, but yeah.
Yeah, they start at 3:34.
Exactly, which is never a possibility of mine. Even today, I don't stress myself. I enjoy cycling. Of course, sometimes I kind of venture out in ITT and figure out, okay, let me push myself as much as possible. One thing which I've not done is road race, which I really want to do. I don't know when I will do it.
Right.
Somehow I've not been able to. The timing has never worked out. Either I've been in between breaks of cycling, then the race will begin, or I was not trained enough. So that is one thing which is pending in my cycling journey of 8 years now. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Right. When did this, you, for the listeners who cannot see, you have only one hand.
Correct.
You wear a prosthetic.
Yes, I've been wearing prosthetic since my childhood. I actually, I met with an accident when I was 2.5. I lost my right arm below elbow. That is one plus point. Because above elbow is again difficult to get prosthetics back in those days. Below elbow was good. So I've been a lefty all my life. So I never. See, the lucky part was it happened when I was 2.5, even before when I started school.
Right.
So everything started with left hand. So
Okay.
So that never came in any way, either in my academic or even my cycling journey ever.
Okay. So what was the accident? How did it
Basically, we were staying in Mangalore and we were traveling from Mangalore to Bangalore. During there is a Ghat section in Sakleshpur. So I think I'm talking of 1985. I think there was don't know what happened. Maybe the driver was drunk. I mean, 85. There was no social awareness of no drink and drive.
Right.
I mean, it was there, but not at a mass level where people do understand. So that must be the reason where he tripled down the Ghat section.
Is that a bus?
Sakleshpur. Yeah. We were traveling in a bus from Bangalore to Bangalore. I think we were coming here for some function. So that's when the bus tripled down the Ghat section.
Okay.
So because I was a kid, I was more prone to injuries.
Right. So that's how the accident happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
Very old story.
yeah. But and interestingly, you mentioned that since this is something that happened at a very early
young age,
you never really
exactly felt the non-existent of one arm. Everything was for me left.
Right.
And somehow, I mean, anything I do, my mind automatically works on how to figure it out, doing it in one hand. So, I mean, in that way, I should say, what happens is when you lose something, your physical part, right? Your brain functions much more because you need to find out. I keep telling this to my friends, say, for example, we are in this room. If I need to take a chair from here to the other room, you will just pick up those two chairs. I mean, the chair in two hands and you will put it on the other side. For me, I need to find out the center of gravity. I need to understand how do I pull it in one hand.
Right.
I need to see how do I push it in one hand to the other room. So it automatically comes to me. So it has never been a problem. And that's why I said it could happen. It happened at a young age.
Yeah.
Because I mean, mid-age, it's really difficult. I mean, you cannot, it's a uphill task if somebody loses their arm or legs during their midlife. I mean, unlearning is the most difficult part.
Right, unlearning and see the mental aspect of
exactly.
it. Not just the physical.
Exactly, you just can't survive. You only know to function like that, right? So that's what I said. So that is good that it happened and it's been that way.
Yeah.
And got good support from my family. I mean, my dad ensured that from the beginning he used to say, just be independent, just figure it out.
Yeah.
You have no choice, and good it happened to you when young. So, I mean, when you have such a backup in your life, when you have such strong, push from your parents, I mean, nothing else. There is no stopping from there.
Yes. Yeah, that is true. So, coming back to cycling, right? When you started walking, obviously the arm is not in a picture,
exactly,
right? So you would be fine. So how difficult was it to kind of cycle if you have to?
Luckily, as I said, I think if I remember right, it was 9th or 10th standard. My first cycling stint was so. I mean, back in those days, you had those Hercules cycles.
Right.
I mean, if I remember, I didn't get a gear cycle, so there was no shifter. So I had to just apply brakes. So that was never a problem because I knew that one brake is enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything even in our life, there are two kidneys, two arms, one is enough. So one brake would suffice. So that was my first stint in understanding the basics of cycling. Now coming back, when I restarted again in 2014, I would mention here Nilesh Dumal from Pro Cycle.
Yeah, Nilesh. Yeah,
yes, Nelly, exactly. So as I stayed in Indiranagar, my first cycle shop was Pro Cycle back in those days. So I got my Trek Hybrid, if I remember right. The only issue what I had was now I'm not in 9th standard, 10th standard where, and you are in a Bangalore city, you need brakes to function. Even I was skeptical whether one brake would suffice in this city. So initially what we did was, I put this across to Nelly. Nelly actually tried for 6 months to get a part which would make sure that both the brakes fit into one cable, and that one lever is enough for you to
work on
to put
brakes.
the brakes on at the same time, both brakes.
Right. Yeah.
So that and that was a rim brake. Now that worked. I mean, that seriously worked. It was good. I mean, he figured out how to do it for the first time. As I say, a challenge for me is challenge for the business also, whoever I interact with.
Right.
So even so that way, even I got an idea whether what is required to do such things. So that was my first cycle, and that went in for a long time. Oh, that was a beautiful journey from 2014 to 2016, wherein I was really enthusiastic to get up in the morning and then go cycling. And initially, one more thing I would say, I don't know what happened. Really, even today, if I look back, I wonder. The first 6 months, I purposely didn't join any groups. Because I was overweight, and I did not want to be a burden to a group. So I thought, let me not join a group, let me do solo cycling, let me reduce, let me go at my own pace, let me just come to a point wherein I can join group rides. So that is, and today, if you ask me, would you do a solo ride? I would do 1 or 2 rides, but I mean, it's really difficult motivating doing solo rides. You can do 1 or 2 in case you're having withdrawal symptoms, but I still don't understand how I did it for that first 6 months.
No, when we start it,
maybe enthusiasm.
I mean, we look at things, look at different things at different
times,
times, right?
Exactly.
So when we start, we would be just excited about being able
to maybe
go from
do
place
something,
to place,
exactly.
explore the places,
Yes.
feel that wind in the hair,
exactly,
which
and
is not
the love
much.
For the city, the weather,
I mean,
exactly.
The outdoors, just feeling the greenery, exploring everything.
Greenery, I should say, correct. Bangalore, I mean, this is really a very beautiful city, I should say, in terms of that. So that was the one. So that's why I keep thinking myself, how the hell did I do solo for 6 months? And really, it was 6 months. I made sure that I will not join group rides because I was too huge, and I did not know. See, I didn't want, and this comes from my fundamental. When my dad said be independent, from the beginning, I said, see, if I join group rides, they'll have to slow down for me. They have to watch out for me. Maybe they will take they will feel the burden of responsibility. So why should I bother giving them the trouble? Let me do my hard work, and then let's see how it goes on.
Right.
So that's what was the starting journey of my cycling again. And the worst thing, that Trek cycle got stolen.
Oh,
yeah.
When did that happen?
Oh yeah, that was in 2016, if I remember right. Yeah. So I've lost 2 bikes which were stolen. Yeah.
Oh, 2 bikes.
Yeah. One after the other. One was a hardtail and one was this Trek hybrid.
Okay. From where? How? From
home. Right home. Down. Yeah.
Right.
One was my mistake. I didn't lock it. One, I don't know what happened. They just flicked it. Okay. And from the same house.
right.
That is the most painful thing ever.
Probably the same thief.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. He said, "Let me try my luck once again."
Okay. So coming to the weight loss aspect, you said you were close to 105, 110, right?
Yeah.
So what are you now?
Okay. See, I should be around. Back in 2016, when I was at my peak, I went to 72 or 73.
Wow.
Yeah, and now again put weight again, but of course cycling helps me to keep me in check. I must be around 80, 82 right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing which I wanted to, I mean, I really want to tell people is especially for fat people or even for people who want to lose weight,
Mm.
I, f- I mean, what I understood is people unnecessarily take an extra effort of that running or putting the hard effort,
Mm.
which is actually not required. It is actually counterproductive.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, you must be aware about the heart rate zones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, because I was a IT person, I love fiddling with gadgets.
Right.
So as I said, I got the Polar watch, and then this Polar in the website, they had actually mentioned how do you reduce weight effectively. They had a beautiful animation sequence for 2 minutes, and it said that the more the more you practice or train any exercise at maybe not at zone 1 but at zone 2 and to some extent at zone 3, your fat reduction will go down tremendously, and if you go beyond zone 3, it is fitness level. So I always tell people, even after my journey, that when people want to reduce weight, they just start running. See, the problem with running is difficult.
Mm.
And for a non-fit person, you should never tell them to suddenly start doing something aggressive just to lose weight. What will happen? They will do it 1 week, 10 days, max to max 1 month, they will do it, and then they will not see any result. They will say, "Arey, I put in so much of effort, I'm not seeing any result."
Right.
Then they lose it, and that is the problem. I tell them, walk.
Mm.
You need not even brisk walk. Just walk. You start with walk, maybe a brisk walk 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, you will actually see weight reduction. And in the first 6 months, as I was telling you, when I was cycling solo, anyway I was overweight. I couldn't do zone 3, zone 4, put in hard effort. So I was anyway in zone 1, zone 2, and that tremendously helped me. I think in the 6 months, I suddenly lost some 10-15 kgs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Without any effort.
right.
See, why? Because I never liked, why I was never doing it, because who's going to put in the effort and then after 1 month figure out nothing is going to work out? Who's going to try? But then that is what happened. All this happened by mistake. I never ventured out saying that, oh, let me try walking. Nothing. It just happened slowly, and I just did it at my pace, never stressed myself. Only thing which even today I tell people is be consistent. Whether you're
That is
walking,
true.
running, cycling, swimming, whatever it is, be consistent. If you're consistent, then eventually results will show up. So that is so for all listeners, don't run, don't put in effort if you want to reduce weight.
Yeah.
Start slowly, start at your own pace, enjoy what you're doing. Don't ever think that I have to full stress myself out, sweat it out, only then you will lose.
Yeah, I think that is important advice on many levels, right? The one thing, when you start, you have to be slow and steady.
Exactly.
Right? There is a real danger of doing too much
Too much,
soon.
exactly.
Right? So that is one thing. And the another thing that you mentioned is about, when you are doing exercising at lower intensities, they're called fat burning zones for a reason.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So that is there.
Exactly.
Although it needs a lot more time, probably.
Yes. Time.
That is a given. It needs a lot more time, but it works.
Yes.
And the another thing, when you are starting with lower intensities, the chances of injuring yourself and creating more impact. Say if you start running, the impact on the knees and
Exactly,
everything
will be much lesser.
especially when you are overweight,
Exactly.
is that much more, right?
Exactly.
So the chances of you stress fracturing
Exactly.
or other
Main thing
injuries,
is motivation. I mean,
right.
I was a fat person most of my life.
Right.
So I mean, I know the physical, mental aspects of fat people, in the sense that you don't want to stress out, but you still want to lose weight, which is not the case if you start, as you said, high intensity thing. But yes, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. You have to be patient.
The thing is, when we are overweight, and we want to see results quickly, right? We are not going to be patient.
Exactly.
I myself have been there multiple times.
I know.
Right?
I've seen
so,
your pic.
yeah. So from 92 and all that, I tried reducing, going to gym for multiple
Same
times.
mistakes.
So same journeys. We don't stick to it because we don't see the results quickly. We want everything happening overnight. Yeah. So that is there, and it is not going to show results quickly when you are, and you don't feel that you are doing something. Because you're just walking, you're not seeing.
No, but were you already kind of, I mean, I know you were fat, but were you overweight? I don't think so. You were overweight, right?
I was 20 kilos overweight.
Okay. Yeah. So you had something going in your life, right? I am talking of people who are absolute couch potatoes, like me, who have never ventured out at home. See, people who have at some point in time got some routine, then they would understand. If you want to see the results, you put in more effort, but that'll also take time. But the thing is, for people who have just been sitting, if you tell them suddenly go do run, as I said, you will run, you will as a human being, you will put in the effort, but you won't get the results out because you're stressing yourself. You have never done that, so your motivation decreases day by day.
Right, because you're stressing so much.
Exactly, you're stressing, you're coming back.
You're not going to look forward to it.
Exactly,
for long. And
that is why I said, don't do that. Enjoy yourself. And how do you enjoy? Walk. Walk in your neighborhood. Cycle slowly. You will come later. It will pick up. If you do 1 month continuously, right? Automatically your speed will pick up. You don't have to do anything. That is one thing which I really want to stress, and I would really advise listeners to train using the zone factors. That will really help you out in understanding how your training would give you effects over the period of time. And in today's gadget, I don't even have to say, you have much more complicated things than just I was happy that they gave me only zones in back in those days. Today you have HRVs, you have training efforts, you have aerobic and anaerobic metrics. Crazy.
The number of
and apparently now power, running power is also there in recent Garmin 255 and 955 watches. I mean, crazy numbers.
True. So talking about, I don't know, another thing that I was getting at was some, one perspective is that you walk and you will see results over a period of time. Because it is not so much demanding, you will be able to do it consistently over a period of time.
Correct.
So some people, when we want to see results quickly, we think that if we put in more stress, we would see the results quicker. But what ends up happening is that because you're doing so much, it is not sustainable.
And you go back and eat. Because you put so much of stress, you go back want to put on more calories.
Right. So it is about sustainability.
Exactly.
That
whatever
is
you do,
important.
whether it is high intensity or low intensity, consistency. You have to have consistency. And how do you develop consistency? You love Start loving what you're doing. Don't do it because somebody told you to do it.
Right.
You do it with passion, with love, anything, and then it's a matter of time.
Yeah. So there is this book I was reading, Atomic Habits by James Clear. So he says, make any task easy to start. Right, and then it will stick. So if you are stressing out, if you are, it is a common fallacy that most people starting would fall in. Common trap that most people fall in is that they want to do, they will go flying out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go subscribe to a gym membership for 2 years.
Gym is
right?
the most.
And I'll pay, but
I really wish I want to open a gym.
No,
you can mint money.
The thing is, I'll go pay and I'll do like 2 hours of workout for like 2 weeks or something. But that is not something that you can sustain.
Yeah. Especially I mean, the funniest part is the New Year resolutions of joining the gym. That's what I said. One day we have to open gym. The best thing is you will get income, but you will not have people in the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, see, again, there are people. I'm not making fun of gym, but it has become such a a trying factor that everyone wants to join gym, whether he or she likes it or not. What I am trying to tell you is gym may not be your cup of tea. Like for me, I tried gymming. As I said, my from 10th standard, I think I've joined 3 gyms, maximum 10 days. Because I cannot see wall and start running on a treadmill. What will I see? Walls? What? I don't enjoy that.
No, so it works like anything. You got to find your sweet spot.
Exactly.
It works for some people, and it doesn't work for others.
Yes. So that is true. That is true in everything.
So what we have to look at is what is it that you can sustain over a period of time.
Correct.
Right. If you are able to find an activity that is sustainable over a period of time, nothing like it.
Exactly.
If you are able to stick to it consistently, that is the one for you.
But any day I would suggest people to get into sports. Gymming, unfortunately, is not sports. It can help you in sports. Yeah. But when you think gymming is sports, then that is where I think people fall behind. Because I mean, after joining in 8 years of my cycling, I mean, sport is different. It changes your mindset. It actually, in fact, it helps me in my profession. You finish your morning rides and come back and sit and your mind works at a different level. Your oxygen flow is to the brains are at another level. I mean,
there is a school of thought about endurance sports versus the strength training aspect, right? Some people just love strength training. It works wonders for them, and that is enough for. I mean, they do a bit of endurance work within that within that parameters, like maybe warm up, cool down kind of thing.
All that is, again, as I said, it's a supplement to what you're doing. Again, that strength training, if you are for it, if you love, nothing beats any physical activity. Let me make no qualms about it. Physical activity, anything is only advantageous to you. But the only problem is you have to find your love.
Correct.
What is your love? Do you love sports or you love your strength training? I found out strength training was not my cup of tea. So that is where, and no, today I would do strength training, but that would only for my supplementing
your
cycling requirements. Correct. So that is what it is.
No, definitely. When, like I said, I worked out in gym and all that, it did not work for me, like what you were saying as well. But now again I am going back to the weight room. I fortunately there is some base for me in that as well. during my college
College.
days, because I during one of those bouts of weight loss, I actually worked with the weight training coach,
Okay.
and he helped me with all that,
Perfect.
clean and jerk and
And
all
I
that
think
stuff.
because of your injury, that is a good starting point also.
Right now, yes.
Yep.
Right now, because I am injured and I need to work on my shoulder
Exactly.
mobility
Yeah.
and strength, that also gives me a scope to work on other areas like the leg strength, the squats, lunges, and all that stuff as well, because I'm anyway
Exactly.
there.
It'll help you, obviously.
Right.
And that is where you begin from injury.
Right. So definitely this is, any form of physical activity that gets you going and makes you go out and do it consistently,
Yep.
sustainably over a period of time. Nothing like it.
Yep.
Right. So since we are talking about the endurance and the weight training, thing, right? I recently read an article about the different effects of what weight training has on heart health versus endurance. Training. It is quite interesting. I would love to do a detailed episode on that. It's quite interesting to look at actually. So right, now let us come back to your journey, right? Is it the weight loss journey, is it just the exercise, the activity, the cycling that helped, or did it also from the diet perspective?
No, zero diet.
Zero
diet.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I was always a fat person, right? Again, what do fat people like? Eating. So diet I never followed. Of course, today my lookout is different. But when I started, it was pure exercise and pure low intensity training, zero diets. It helped me. I mean, that's another thing which I wanted to say. Don't stress out diet. That will happen if you come to a particular stage in life, that will automatically happen. But you don't have to sacrifice diet to lose your weight.
But there is also this saying, right? You can't out exercise a bad diet. Because that is something.
See, that I would make a small difference here. I was lucky enough that I never had junk food. I mean, I was fat. I mean, I knew I was fat because I was not going out. It was not because I was overeating or eating junk food. I never liked Pepsi, Coke ever. Maybe once in a while when you drink, you mix it with that. That's the only time I have Pepsi and Coke. But yes, if you have such habits, then it's going to be difficult only doing low intensity. Right. I should specify that. Luckily, I didn't have any junk food or bad dieting in picture. It was pure 3 times a day a meal.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Yeah, that is important to bring out, because if you are eating ton of junk and if you are
cheese and stuff,
if you are putting in like
true. Agreed,
10,000 calories per day and working out, burning out.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I should specify that. I was luckily, thank God, I was not a junk food eater. I would love my food, but just that I was only consistent in eating.
Right.
3 times a day, no matter what. So that was, and no exercise. That was so I knew my problem was not eating, my problem was exercise. But of course, as you said, if people love their burgers, their pizzas, and their oily vadas and stuff, of course.
Yeah, it is, pure maths, right? If you are putting in 10,000 calories and burning 1,000 calories.
Then, agreed.
Then you are not going to that 9,000 calories has to go somewhere.
Correct. Exactly.
So that is important to note as well. So what was your progress like in cycling from when you started?
So I think I recently completed 50,000 kilometers. I think been 2-3 months now. There was a bit of a break. I wouldn't say a break. I did overcycling in 2016, so I took some time off from cycling as well. And if that was not the case, then this 50,000 would have easily crossed some 2-3 years back itself. But then after that break,
how long was this break?
3 to 6 months, not much, but of course the problem was it was zero cycling.
Okay. Yeah.
Not even a 10 kilometers a week kind of a thing. It was complete, because at one point in time, from 2014 to the time when I stopped, 2016 or 2017, I used to do 10,000 kilometers a year. And I overdid it. I enjoyed it so much, and then it came to a point wherein it started becoming, boring again. My problem is I get bored easily.
Right.
So
was it just a feeling of boredom, or is it like any physical symptoms like fatigue?
No, it was just boredom. It was purely mental boredom. I'm like, I have to get up again, see the same streets again. What do I do? So that was the main thing.
Right.
So that, again, that break was required, I would say, because I was overdoing it. I'm not comparing to actual pro athletes who, for them, nothing is overdoing. So yeah, for a normal average person who has never been an athlete, 10,000 kilometers a year was a bit too much to take it on, and it was just becoming monotonous. And so I thought, okay, fine, let me take a break. I was not able to motivate, and I started getting physical injuries. The pedals used to come and hit me back on my calf. And that used to happen too many times. I'm like, no, what is this?
Right.
So I said, Vignesh, take a break. 3 months to 6 months I took a break, and then the starting back was good. I started slowly. Again, after 2 years, I found, even though I was not doing so much, it came to a point wherein again I started feeling bored. I'm like, man, again, what am I doing? And that is when I figured out GoPro.
Okay.
I thought, okay, if I need something to motivate myself, let me buy an action camera and let me start filming what I do. That has now catched up. Basically now my current thing is I cycle to release a video every week, and for releasing a video every week I cycle. So it is like that. And as a lover of a gadget person, I started understanding everything about the nuances of filming, of post-production, of edits. How do you mix stuff, audio production, everything. So that kept me going. As I said, it has come to a stage wherein I satisfy both my habits. In turn, it helps me keep me fit as well. And that is the motivation that keeps me going every week to cycle. Because by Sunday evening, I have to release my weekly summary vlog. And it is a cycling only channel.
So what's the channel called?
The channel is called Odyssey of a Seeker. And it is not meant for getting subscribers. Of course, your guys are all welcome to subscribe, but then it is basically to motivate me to cycle.
It is something that you enjoy doing,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So if no one else is watching, it is still fine because you are enjoying the process.
Exactly, I enjoying the process. And I'm again learning stuff, not just about cycling. I'm learning stuff about filming also, right? So it helps me both ways, and you get into edits there. So it keeps me occupied both my Saturdays and Sundays every week. The routine is like I tell my co-rider friends, let's finish off the weekend ride on Saturday so that I have enough time to go and edit and release it on a Sunday. The tension comes in when my rider friends tell me that let's do a long ride on Sunday. Man, then I start calculating back. Shit, I come back only at 11. When will I release? So it's fun time. It's been for the last 2 years, and I've got this regular rider friends who again I think one of my rider friend gave me a good word. It's called body doubles. Basically, we help each other, motivate each other so that our cycling routine continues.
Right.
And in fact, the funny thing was today we have a rider friend known as Sri Krishnan, who we call him Scott Krishnan because he only buys Scott bikes for no reason. So what happened was he was not cycling for a month. So what we decided was, in case he didn't turn up today morning, we would go knock on his door and tell him, you better come. So that is what it is, and it is very important that we have such a regular set of rider in any sports, let it be running, swimming. You need that motivation, otherwise I mean, you can do solo, but then after some point in time you cannot, unless and until you have like goals like a pro athlete. That is different level.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
finding your tribe is important.
Exactly.
It can be especially in cycling, once you form a team or a group of friends, maybe not a formal team, but it can be a group of friends that turn up every day and ride together.
Correct.
It can be it brings in a lot of camaraderie.
Correct, exactly.
And it's actually more than physical health. I think it is great for mental health. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So
every one of us keep each other motivated enough. If someone is taking a break, at least others are following it, so that the other person who has taken the break, at some point in time he gets motivated enough because of regular conversations in the group. That's how it works.
They also become accountability buddies for each other.
Each other, exactly.
You're not riding. What is there? Some problem? Are you going through something? Are you just being lazy?
Exactly.
If you are just being lazy, I'll hope you.
Exactly, and that's what happened today morning, right? If SK wouldn't have come today, we would have all knocked down his door and said, you better come.
And if you are going through something, we are there for you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So that
exactly.
is
And this team has been with me since 2014, 2015. So we have been. There were a lot more people, but then slowly everyone stopped cycling. Now it is just this core set of us who regular. I mean, we only do cycling. No running, nothing.
Yeah.
All runners aside.
No, but it can be if you are into running, it will be your running buddies, right?
Yes, exactly.
But it is cycling for us,
exactly,
right?
exactly. And all of us have passion for cycling. So, I mean, each one of us love our bikes.
Right. So great. Maybe someone who is out there listening to the podcast with some sort of disability, right? It could be arm in your case, but it could be other things as well. It would be helpful for them to kind of understand what are the things that one has to. You already mentioned about brake, right? Only one brake you are able to apply.
Yeah, but I have upgraded. I'll tell you the story.
Right,
okay, continue.
So what are the things that you can do to make sure that you are out there safely and able to do the workouts and stuff?
Okay, so see, the thing is that I can't speak for every kind of disability because every kind of disability has got their own challenges.
Definitely, yeah.
The thing what I would see, I don't know how do I put this. You have to find a way to motivate yourself, and how do you do it? Yes, and the most thing in cycling, what we get even for a normal person, how do you go cycle in the morning? I mean, this is India. You have so many
Right, yeah.
I mean, people going haywire in their vehicles. How do you do that? See, end of the day, it is how safe you want to be, how safe your tool is. End of the day, cycling is just a tool, right? So currently, that okay, now this I should mention my the other journey within cycling, wherein I recently shifted finally after 6-7 years from a flat bar to a road bike,
Road bike, yeah.
to a drop bar. So the thing is that okay, this is a very interesting journey. So as I said, my first cycle was a Trek hybrid, which is obviously flat bar, and then I mean I didn't back in the, when you are starting, you don't know what a road bike is. You just know cycle is a cycle, right? So somehow I got a Cannondale, which was a carbon bike, which was a flat bar carbon road bike. Everything was going smooth, but then always then as you get matured in your sports, you start understanding flat bar. There is a flat bar road bike, there's a hardtail, you have hybrids, you have cyclocross, then you have road bikes.
Right.
And road bikes is the pinnacle of being a cyclist. If you are a cyclist, you have to have a road bike.
MTB riders will beg to differ.
Okay. Okay, let me not. Okay, MTB riders are different. For that, you need to have proper. But generally, I mean, 99%
let's
of
talk
them
about
are
road cycling.
road bike, right? Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and no, it is true.
Yeah.
MTB will certainly get offended with this. I know about that. So the thing was, but somehow I was skeptical that how do I manage a road bar, a drop bar bike, because I know that I cannot, using my artificial limb, I cannot hold it in. One is on the bar, one is on the drop bar, and one is on the hood. All these three positions, I knew that it was going to be difficult for me, considering I have to use my brakes also. So I tried once. One of my friends gave me his road bike on the Old Madras Road highway, where and I was struggling, and it was just a 40 bar. I was finding it difficult to turn.
Right.
Now that was just my first attempt. What happened, that spoilt my motivation to buy a road bar, and it was always scratching me in my subconscious mind that shit, man, I can't buy a road bike. When will I do that? How will I do that? And somehow it went on and on and on. So the same friend, what happened, he got his bike before the pandemic. As usual, full high intensity rides he did with me for a couple of times, left it. I knew he left it, and within 3 months of him leaving, I mean, I know I've seen a lot of people who do high intensity and leave, and I knew he was one of them. I silently went and asked, can you lend me your road bike? I want to try it. First he said no. That's it, gone. See, I always believe I wanted that was that test ride which I did was hardly some 10 meters.
Right.
And my fundamentals has always been, you need to practice more to understand whether it is capable. Even when I started cycling, I didn't do 100 kilometers overnight.
Right.
I started with 10 within my neighborhood. I started 25 kilometers to the next, and then finally after 3-4 months I did my 50 and your 100s.
Right.
So I mean, that's how I am built. I don't
Also, one ride won't be enough.
Exactly, and that too, it was hardly 10 meters.
Correct.
So, but I didn't want to invest on a road bike and then figure out it
And
was
then
not.
find out, yeah,
so
that
I
it is
just
not.
left it. I said, yeah, I already have a carbon bike, and all my friends was like, why do you need a road bike? You already have a carbon bike. That itself is a big thing for many of us. So why do you need to do it? You just go on. I mean, you are cycling, you are racing, you are doing your individual time trials. Why do you want? But still, I had that thing in me. No, I need to do. This is another part of the universe that you should understand. You should always be motivated, never give up. So what happened, I contacted him, the same rider friend who said he will not give his road bike, and I knew he stopped, right? After 2 years I contacted him again and said, see, I know you're not cycling for 2 years now. Do me a thing, you give me a bike, let me ride it for a week. Let me see if it is possible, and if it is possible, I'll buy the bike myself. And he said, oh, you're ready to buy? Okay, then you take it for a week, let me know. In case you can't, then I will find another buyer. Because he was also thinking, okay, it's been 2 years, I'm not going to ride back.
Right.
So that is what helped me. And again, I started with the riding 5-10 kilometers a day. Initially it was so difficult that my street was just 10 meters from my home to the end of the street was just, even on the first day I still remember it was really difficult for me to, I was still trying to find out which is the position that will work for me, whether the hoods will work, whether the drop bars will work, or on the handlebar itself will it work. So that itself, and within that I need to understand how to brake as well,
Right.
because I have to take it out. I cannot use. I mean, it is very awkward to have one hand on the hoods and another on the brake.
Yeah, the
So,
balance won't be
balance won't be there. So I had to figure out all that stuff. Luckily, what happened, somehow within day 3, day 4, I was able to go 1 kilometer on my road itself.
there. Right.
So that gave me the motivation. Okay, let me just go out of my area now. So that's how this began. And then my current road bike, which I'm the same road bike, I have modified it. I have made it a 1x and then put a bar and shifters.
1x is 1x is, you don't have the front shifter.
Exactly, I don't have the front shifters.
Only rear shifter,
Only rear
which you
shifters.
can operate by your left hand.
Exactly, using bar shifters. So bar and shifters.
Bar and shifters.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's how I have figured out. Now,
Was it like some the STI, right? The Shimano, the brake and gear shifters?
nothing. The brake remains intact. The shifters are just wired to your bar and shifters. That's all. So I have taken out everything. No wires, nothing.
Okay.
Only the wire is your one brake and your one wire for your shifter.
Yeah, my question is, Shimano and SRAM and everyone has this mechanism which is integrated brake and shifter levers, right? Integrated shifter.
Yeah.
Right. Wouldn't that work for you?
Right now, I didn't try all those stuff. This was the best opportunity. I mean, the best, options that I had when I wanted to modify this. So I have tried with this, but my next upgrade, obviously, N+1 rule.
Right.
You always need one extra bike now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm confident on this experimental bike, in fact, I just was talking to Ritvik of Velo Studio yesterday. You have options of satellite shifters when you go wireless.
Right.
So that is what I'm also looking for. In fact, I did research back in 2016 about all of this. When I almost ventured out saying that, again, let me go back. That prick was there that I need to buy a road bike, right? I went to an extent that, okay, no matter if nobody lends me their bike, I will buy it. Let me see if I can ride it. If not, I will sell it. But then and unfortunately that came in a phase when I was over cycling. So I did the research and then never bought the cycle. So now what I'm planning to do, hopefully by next year, is get a wireless thing and start experimenting with wireless. This bar and shifter is good for a mechanical rim brakes bike.
Right.
But if you want to go wireless, I need to figure out something. But certainly the regular positions of the shifters and brake will not work for me.
Okay.
So that is impossible for me. I can only do front shifters using my left hand. So for my see again, I tried. That's why I bought the one bike. I said my problem is not my left hand. My problem is how do I do the rear shifters. So I said why not forego the front shifters. Let me try a one by as well, and then try to figure out how do I enhance this. Now using the bike I think I've already done some 2,000, 3,000 kilometers with this.
With the road bike.
With the road bike, and now that has become the go-to bike for me every day morning. Poor hardtail of mine, it's getting rusted. So the thing is that ideas are popping up. Something will happen. Hopefully by next year I would plan something else, because one by is again I'm finding it difficult climbing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's even we went to such an extent that the last gear ratio was equivalent to a road bike ratio. But to get to the last itself, while climbing, it's a very difficult task. So I think I will go back to compact. And then we'll figure out how from there
how to make it
yes
work.
How to make it work. The main thing is I figured out. Now it's only the mechanical stuff. My main problem was how do I balance that.
Right.
I figured out. Everything else is just
was it just practice?
Practice.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Even after doing 47,000 kilometers everywhere, when I got the road bike, I struggled 1 kilometer. And I was not confident enough. The question you asked, how do you, if you're not confident enough, get your confidence. Don't venture out. Don't try anything just because your friend told or you want to prove. You take your time. You decide. You find a neighborhood with there is no traffic around, where even if you fall, you don't mind. Nothing is gonna happen. So you have to figure out a way. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah,
So
that is
that's
true.
the ultimate thing. Yeah, and that is what I figured out buying my road bike also.
Yeah. So the braking situation on the road bike, are you using just one brake?
Yes, as of now, one brake. Right. One more thing I need to tell. This problem of one brake will be resolved if I get hydraulic disc brake. In fact, that is good system. That's what I did in my Cannondale flat bar carbon bike as well.
What do you mean?
Just have one brake.
Okay.
No, I don't use no more those ones that will connect both the brakes. No,
okay.
rather I made it such an extent that the word arrow. So I had to reduce everything. So I have taken all my brakes apart. So if you see my Cannondale bike, you'll only find one brake. The other brake does not even exist.
Weight saving,
exactly. So that's what. See, that was one thing which I should say. Difference between rim brake and hydraulic. Hydraulics are strong. I have figured that out. That they are really strong. One brake is more than enough for a hydraulic.
Which one do you keep, front or back?
Back.
One.
Yeah, back in Cannondale, front in MTB.
Okay.
I just happened like that. Don't ask me why. I just tried it. It just happened. I said, remove it. Okay, remove it.
Okay.
Let me try. Yeah.
And you set it up on the left
exactly.
hand.
Anyway, I keep it only on the left side. So whatever.
Yeah.
So I think now I remember whichever bike comes with the left side, I keep it.
Okay.
So I don't know whether it is rear or front, depending upon the manufacturer.
Right.
I think European bikes, the front one is back, something like that, right? If I remember right.
Yeah. So that is a bit confusing.
Yeah, confusing one, right? Yeah. I don't know which manufacturer follows that, but some of them follow the left as back, some of them follow left as front. So whichever is on the left side, that is what it is.
Yeah. Excellent. So coming to your work and managing time with cycling and now your vlogs and stuff, right? Vlogs, you said you do mostly in the weekends.
Correct.
Like we are doing now the podcast
on the weekend. Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
So how do you manage your time for work and sport?
See, luckily for me, it has worked out. Whether even when I started back in those days, my office was only, I had to get to office only by around 10 o'clock. and mostly and back in those days, because I was more enthusiastic, I used to start even much more earlier, like 5 o'clock and stuff. Today I can't even imagine getting up at 4 o'clock. But then so I used to be back by 8:30, get ready and go back to work. And one thing is for sure, that if you unfortunately if you don't have work on that day, right, this afternoon is very difficult to manage. You end up having a power nap, and but of course that is also part of your routine,
Right.
if you can manage that. And if you that's what so it has never hampered my work, but then to some extent I would say my organizing capabilities has also helped me.
Right.
If you're not organized, then I don't think so you can manage so many stuff.
Right.
It is going to be really difficult. You need to have some sort of organizing skills, self-organizing skills. I mean, luckily, again, I would thank this skill where I practice is my first company, or rather my first firm, wherein it was a big four, and we had lot of deadlines. I mean, every client, because we were the financial auditors, we had to have deadlines to finish. So when I started my career itself, I was pushed in an environment where I had to give the deliverable within a specific deadline. You're literally screwed if you don't complete your work within that deadline. So, and it's best when you have this habit inculcated when you're starting your career, right?
Right.
So that helped me a lot, and that has pushed me till now, and I really thank that it worked out that way. If I wouldn't have got that skill for my first firm in which I worked, I don't think so I would have managed so many things currently. Because again, as I said, if I don't if I have a ride on Sunday and if I come by 11, I get really tensed. How do I finish my editing work by say 6-7 in the evening? So that's how I end up planning. I sometimes invariably push my friends to ride on a Saturday purposefully. Even if we have ridden on a Friday, we'll say, okay, let's try to finish off our long rides on Saturdays instead of pushing it on Sundays. And that has helped me. So even today luckily I'm a consultant, so I get work, I finish off work, there is no timeline. As long as you finish work. And one more thing is, my client is a European client, so they log in only at around 12:01 Indian time.
Right. Yeah.
So you still, even though I don't go on weekdays up to that, I don't push myself, because I'm used to coming back at home even if I do a cycle ride by say 8:30, 9. So I generally log in, but at least you get that time to relax.
Right.
So even if you did a hard intensity ride on that day morning, you have that 1 hour time to just relax yourself and then start your work.
Right.
So, and it helps that they log in only at around 12 o'clock, so that you can keep things ready in your own pace by the time the client wants me to get something done on that day.
Right. Great. So this has been fantastic conversation. Really enjoyed this. I also want to kind of touch upon if you have any tips for going out and taking care of safety in terms of riding out safely and stuff.
That's a very good
what
thing.
are some of the things that you experienced and noticed that help for your safety?
See, we are in India. We are one of the most populous countries in the world.
Right.
And more than people now, we have vehicles in our roads. So
expect the unexpected is the correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And see, the thing is that, okay, one thing I would like to tell is be confident. If you are fidgety, if you are not confident on the road, then you're bound to have an accident.
Right.
I mean, it's not that you will not still have an accident, but the risk is invariably reduced a lot. You have to be confident on your biking skills, on your understanding of your road skills, your traffic skills. You have to be confident. Whatever makes you confident. If you want to put a mirror, please put a mirror, but use the mirror. Don't put it and then panic again.
Right.
You're putting a tool to help you be confident, right? Again, people put those mirrors and still they're not confident. So the thing is that you have to be confident. And again, I'll go back to the fundamentals. If you want confidence, you have to first practice within your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Practice in a park, practice, you fall down, you figure out when you're going to fall down, at what situation you're going to fall down, slowly increase. I don't remember who was the person. I think was it initially when I started, I think it was Arvind Bateja who told me this famous dialogue, and I still remember it. There are 3 types of cyclists: one who has fallen, one who will fall, one who's currently falling in slow motion. So you are bound to fall if you're a cyclist.
Right.
You have to just reduce it.
Yeah.
And you should not be scared. That's what I said. You have to be. See, you're on a road. How you can't drive a car or a motor vehicle if you're not confident.
Right.
Same thing. Just that the vehicle is small. That's all. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to be worried. And in fact, I would say biking in countries like India is actually much more easier.
True.
Because people are used to hand-eye coordination. You hear a lot of biking accidents outside India because there are no people there. You'll only find vehicles that are going at very high speed levels, and only in downtown areas of major cities you'll find traffic. Once you get out of the downtowns, you will hardly have any soul going by. You'll only have high speeding cars going by, right? Which is not the case here. Every 10 kilometers you're made sure that you're looking where you're riding. So the point is, be confident.
Be confident, and confident comes from practice.
Practice fall.
Right.
Fall in your area where you know that nothing is going to happen.
Right.
You fall, you figure out that what makes you fall, and then you figure out that when can you go. And don't panic. Even if you
panic is the biggest thing, right?
Exactly.
That causes all
the problems. Exactly. I have seen so many people, just because somebody came and honked, people suddenly take a left. I mean, don't. He's honking you to tell he's coming. You don't have to panic. You
no
see
sudden
him.
Moments.
Exactly. You see, you give way, or you say, wait, hold on. That's what I do whenever I come from anywhere to my area, right? You have this double road, which is a very small road in Indiranagar. Even if there are vehicles honking at me, I tell them stop. I have to go.
Right.
You don't go, I will go.
Right.
There is only so much space, and I'm not going to take my road bike on the footpath or on where there is gravel, right? So you have only a small path where you have good road, and especially on that road, well, that works. You have to be confident.
Confident, and also being able to ride predictably.
Exactly.
Like you mentioned, you would sign them.
Exactly. You sign. You use all the signs possible. You tell them, don't panic. Exactly.
Ride predictably.
Exactly.
And be confident and practice, and you are fine.
That is the fundamental thing. Rest is, again, anything can happen at any time. But you cannot always think that, oh shit, if I go out today, will I fall? I mean, and that is another problem here in our country, that somehow people are afraid. I don't know why. In fact, I remember somebody senior to me in my first company said, oh, Bangalore, you're cycling. I bet you will not go beyond 1 month. So that is what the thing is, but it's just a mental block. It's just a mental block. You go out, you be confident. Of course, you need to know your skills. You cannot overnight go take your cycle and go out and say, oh shit, today I fell. And invariably, that is another thing most people do, which stops them from coming into cycling.
Mm.
They take out their bikes without practice. They don't understand how they have to see. End of the day, it's your bike handling skill, right? If you do not know to, if you're not practiced your bike handling skill, then obviously you will fall. And that is invariably the case wherein some guy would have come and hit that person. That's it. Stopped. Cycling stopped. I've known so many of them in 8 years.
Right.
My own friends, man, cycling, I got hit. And that is your fault. You got hit. You should not cycling because you got hit. I mean, that's normal part of cycling life. Once you're even running, who told you that no two-wheeler will come and bash you? Just because that happens, it's not that you're not going to run, right?
Right. I mean, there are millions of accidents all over.
Exactly, in any vehicle.
In all the countries, including India, but we still drive.
Exactly.
It is somewhat similar.
Exactly. I think that is one thing that people at least in my country, I really wish people understand that cycling is as risky as you driving a car. That's all.
Right.
If you can understand, it is not more risky, it is not less risky, it is the same risk. That's all. If they can understand that, I think cycling will grow leaps and bounds in India.
I mean, during pandemic, lot of people started.
They showed lot of even the government showed lot of enthusiasm. Pandemic went, enthusiasm among people also went.
But even if a small percentage of them,
some have stayed back. Some have stayed back.
It is a good thing.
Good thing. Of course. And that is a worldwide phenomenon.
Right.
I remember. I think there were whole documentaries of 1 hour on increase in cycling in UK and stuff. I'm like, I thought already they were a cyclist country. Even they were like, no, cycling has improved during the pandemic. So it's a worldwide phenomenon, and I'm dead sure, like in India, worldwide, the enthuse also must have gone down. But good in a way, we have started getting spare parts.
Right.
The stock is back.
Yeah. This has been a fun conversation, man. Thanks for taking the time and sharing.
My pleasure, Venki.
That was my conversation with Vignesh. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to the channel on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.